All right.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming to the show today. Trading Rebellion with Nick Mancini, Trade the Chain, Chief Community Officer, Director of Research, Monty and CJ, the Market Rebels from over at MarketRebellion.com. And we are watching some action here on Dogecoin. That is why we are late to the table. You can see the 1 hour chart that Monty has up. This thing has spiked all the way up. It hit 10 cents just not too long ago here, and starting to get some sell pressure, which Nick just magically called. But we all bought in, and we're like leveraged degens right now. So
well, show everybody Twitter right now. Show them why. If people are tuning in and have not seen what's been going on.
Here it is right. Oh, here it is right here. Let me get it up.
So if you've not been checking the newswire, which none of us would expect you to see something like this or have it hit your push notifications, but Elon literally just changed the web Twitter logo to the Doge icon. So if you see in the top left there on Alex's Twitter, it is now the Doge logo. It is not the case on mobile, but it appears that enough people use web that it has spread around quickly enough. And I think what is Doge up since that tweet? Doge is up 27%. It was up a peak of 31% since that change occurred. 30%.
Literally, I bought in. Nick, did you buy in when we?
I did not. No, I've just been watching you and Monty because I was like, I didn't know when we were going to start, what was going to happen. So I'm letting you guys have the fun right now.
I have 11 order fills in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, apologies if I'm looking at my phone, but it's not because I'm texting or anything. It's because I was making sure my order is getting filled.
So pull the Doge chart back up. Let's go 1 minute and just see if we can predict what's going on just based on our technical skills. We're talking about it hitting 10 cents, that kind of being the meme target, if you will. The market likes round numbers for these types of things. Typically around that round number, you will see a sell-off. And if we compare it to what we actually saw some bullish action from Doge on Saturday. And actually after that initial hourly candle on Saturday, you might need to kind of zoom out on your time frame, Alex, if we want to talk about the comparison. But it actually jumped, I think, 10-15% on Saturday and then continued to rise another 5% in terms of bullish volatility. Not exactly saying you're going to get the same situation on Doge here, but you're going to see a lot of people shorting any sort of weakness on the chart. And if there's a lot of shorts coming in, that could potentially fuel a short squeeze or continued short squeeze if the price continues to inch higher. So what I think is probably going to happen here is we'll see some volatility around 0.95, potentially down to the weekly or daily VWAP on the 1 minute chart. But I would expect if like mid 9 cents holds or 9 cents itself holds, I would expect us to potentially go up to 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 cents by the time this rally's over. You have to think, a lot of people use Twitter. A lot of people recognize the Doge and Elon meme, and a lot of people are being hit with the Doge icon right now. So, in terms of a narrative or this may not just be a truly quick trade. But what do you guys think? You think we're selling off here or what?
I don't know. Should I reverse into a short position?
I wouldn't reverse. If you're definitely in profit, I would recommend probably taking some profit and then seeing how it reacts around that 9 cent level. Because I think, the weekly VWAP is going to come in on the 1 minute right around 9 cents. And that's where price paused first. There was the tiniest little range at 9 cents.
Why would we do that? I'm going to entertain the viewers. I'm reversing. I'm going short all the way right now.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we chalk it up to news as well, Nick, you did point out how on the weekly chart, we had been putting in what looked like a decent kind of double bottom formation here. And of course, you could have never predicted that Elon was going to make the Twitter logo, the Doge logo. But, that being said, still breaking above the 200-day moving average. And when that happens, we typically tend to get some serious volatility. So be careful because like these sort of wicks, this without a doubt costs a lot of people a lot of money, a lot of people getting long here, getting liquidated hard and coming back down. Not saying that's going to be the case this time. But that being said, with the weekly candle breaking above 200 moving average, I mean, it's still worth noting.
Yeah, in my opinion, 9 cents is line in the sand if you can't cleanly break above 10, because 10 also coincided the high from February 4th. So we just swept February highs basically, which is also important for price context. And if we look at the range, it's a potential 3 tap on the range, which could then send us back down to like 6 cents. So if 9 cents fails, in my opinion, it's going to get ugly pretty quick. But obviously, it's putting up quite a fight right now, which I would expect it to continue to do. I don't think this is going to be an automatic short.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. And one thing that CJ and I have talked about in the past is, during the Asian hours, sometimes they tend to be a little bit more or show more risk on behavior than Western traders. And I think that seeing this, might be exactly what they've been, waiting for. And with their indices looking strong, I could see this actually continuing despite the fact that, there's clearly some strong distribution above 10 cents. I could see this continuing well into tonight. So I don't think we've seen the end of this pump yet, which I know makes Alex very
Come
happy.
on.
Also, another interesting indication, something I've been using is the Upbit, exchange. And I'm not using the exchange itself, but using the trending volume coins to predict what is going to be hot in terms of a short-term trade. And Trade the Chain actually offers a lot of exchange information, and so does CoinMarketCap, which is where our data comes from. But if we look at that data, Doge is actually in the top 10 on Upbit still. And, if we look at some of the other coins that have been trending, SXP massively, I think it's done 3x in the past couple of days. ICX was a trending coin on Trade the Chain. XRP is number 3. It's been trending hard. Bitcoin's number 4. It's been trending hard. So these top coins on the Upbit exchange are directly correlating to the highest activity and most volatility in terms of price action. Dogecoin's number 10 or number 9 on that list right now. So if this translates into evening price action, meaning when Asia wakes up, we could see a larger explosion of Dogecoin trading volume, which is something to potentially look for around the daily close.
Yeah. And I mean, if we're talking just volume here and looking at Binance, which of course is, the largest exchange in the world. I mean, look at this volume candle here. Like, this was very impressive. And this I think speaks to how fresh the news still is, right? Like, literally right as we came on the air, this was all unfolding. And we had this massive amount of volume on the back of that news. This is the first wave of people getting in. Same people that were distributing here were the ones that were the first ones to take advantage of that news, right? And now we have some continuation in this sign of strong volume. We still have 47 minutes left in this hourly candle, and we are already approaching
nearly same volume.
So from a technical perspective, I think that looks pretty good. But one thing that I will say just real quick, as a word of caution about using technical analysis on the altcoins is like, look, people have been talking about how Doge is a good short play. I've seen a lot of that sentiment on Twitter. And there was some negative price action, but people are saying, oh, look, and then we got this, confirmation that, to get short here. And price did continue to go lower, plausibly would have continued to, make new lows here, or local lows at least, from the hourly perspective. And then you get hit with a massive curveball like this and you get liquidated. And then we get price action like this. So like, you can't always rely on TA, because there's going to be, especially in crypto, plenty of random events that will, dictate price action far more than TA ever will.
And last note on what Monty's saying and what I said before in reference to Binance and the chart that we're looking at now, Dogecoin number 9 in terms of spot market on Binance, number 9 volume. In terms of perpetuals, it is the number 6 top traded asset in terms of volume. So Doge is top 10 on Binance and our Korean, DGen casino Upbit. So,
Well,
very
hold on a
interesting.
sec. Nick. I need to bring in cattle futures with CJ. CJ, how are we doing with cattle futures right now?
Yeah, I mean, if I could take the screen, there's plenty of charts. That trade, it actually went through a massive short squeezed. We covered it because the data went back to neutral. But then after we covered it, it was like a massive squeeze to new highs. So that trend is still trending and going higher. It's not. It was not the top in terms of like the interim. Same thing with orange juice, but there are some other things in terms of major equity indices I will talk about in terms of positioning, and I think that tells a very interesting story of what's been going on in markets, at least traditional. And then, we can talk about where I'm positioned in Bitcoin later on. But I mean, so yeah, I like 5 minutes on that. But if you guys want to start with something else, by all means.
No, this is like the OJ police chase right now. We're just kind of talking around the Doge God candle here as I'm negative on my leverage short position right now.
The Broncos going 80 miles an hour.
conversation.
There's two people in the car.
CJ's like, wow, I want to hang up right now.
Yeah, go ahead and throw up CJ's charts.
I think CJ, you need to. Oh, we got it. I think you need to share your.
I need something a little less degenerate than Dogecoin, and something a little more reliable than
Is there no Doge of the commodity world?
Yeah, it's called silver. Everybody thinks it's going to pump, and it never pumps. So it's not like Doge. But anyways, the problem, like, I don't really have an edge on Doge right here other than just like buying and hoping it goes up because Elon changed the logo. Like, literally, that's the trade thesis if I were to go long Doge. However, I think there's much more edge in looking at COT data and understanding like macro positioning. So first, to illustrate, I want to draw you guys' attention to this top COT indicator. This is the overall positioning, but we want to look at like the relative rate of change and really look at where this indicator is. So due to the fact that we had tons of shorts levered all the way up, really at the start of this uptrend, going into the uptrend as well, people were shorting into it. Now, ever since last week and really the past couple weeks, those shorts have been forced to cover. And today we see the NASDAQ underperforming even on a green day between ES and Dow. Now, when we look at ES, we still are in a long bias because the majority of large and small speculators are still short. So due to the fact that everybody's short, there are really no bullish fundamentals, yet price keeps going higher. I don't think fundamentals really matter at all. I think it's all about the positioning, and that's ultimately where the edge and risk reward comes from. So if we understand that ES is the second highest short interest, and then the first highest short interest in terms of like our three indices we're looking at is the Dow. So Dow has the highest amount of shorts. Personally, I'm long the Dow right now. That's why, is because it has the most amounts of shorts. And the beautiful thing is it's reflected in performance, or the positioning is reflected perfectly within performance. NASDAQ had the most shorts cover last week. It's performing the least. ES had the second most shorts cover last week. It's performing slightly better. And the Dow had the least or the most shorts stack up between this week and last week. And we see that one outperforming. So when trades get crowded, it's no guarantee that they're going to go in the inverse direction, but it gives you an edge in terms of risk to reward. And that's why I remain long Dow. My system and how I will approach this trade is if this index, the COT index or oscillator, goes back to 50, or if it goes back to a more moderate level, like what the NASDAQ did, that was my signal to exit longs in NASDAQ, and the trend followers can take it from here. But that's why I remain long Dow, and I remain, bullish neutral, but without positions in things like ES and NASDAQ. And, people will tell you all different types of narratives and stories about why the market went up and why it didn't. And to me, it's as simple as positioning and the number of crowded shorts. And we can apply that to crypto as well when looking at funding rates. And I also have something I'd like to talk about in terms of a CFX short and those funding rates. but I'll let you guys go ahead first and discuss.
Well,
No, I want to bring your
I gotta
thoughts
break.
back in.
Hold on. I'm in the
sorry.
money on the short. I'm in the money on the short. Okay. I need to break from our regular scheduled program. It looks like it is going down. We're at 90, 94, no, 93. So just wanted to give everybody an update at home. Go ahead. Sorry, there, Nick.
So, well, yeah, on the Doge topic, I did say short 10 cents, which you would have been, potentially cut depending on how high your leverage is at the 10, 102, we'll call it. Now we just tagged 914, which is just above the weekly VWAP on the 1 minute. And we're starting to see a little reversal action. So I did say sell 10 by 9. That seems to be the case right now. We'll see if it follows through. So.
Well, just for the folks at home, my liquidation is 0.1016. Okay.
All right, we'll see if that happens. I would say now is where you would typically try and get long, but we'll see how that plays out. If I'm wrong or not. Well, I mean, you're in profit, so you could reverse here, but hey, whatever. We'll forget that. That's just my speculation. But on CJ's topic, NASDAQ and Dow are very close to, I believe, summer highs from 2022. I think it was June or July highs. So, assessing, why people are shorting is because they're expecting equal highs, maybe a double top on the macro scale, return to mid-range, or at least just a general rejection from where we're at now. I think you're on mute, CJ. But, I just wanted to,
I was just going to say, they've been shorting for weeks. Like, this isn't something that's just coming up because we're at a resistance level. Like, everyone's bearish in terms of fundamentals. There's no bullish fundamental case to be made. And in order for, like, what I'm looking for, in order for Dow to go back to neutral levels, we could go to like 35,000 based on the number of shorts that could be forced to cover. So sorry to interrupt. That's just what I wanted to.
I mean, this perspective is good because we've got equal highs in the S&P at 4,200, which we've yet to reach as well. So everything's kind of creeping towards this, the macro resistance levels, which makes sense for the shorts. But like you said, we keep getting hit with weird and negative and bad news, and the market's still kind of chugging. And now crypto is kind of pausing. So, and crypto and tech have been obviously moving closer in tandem. So seeing crypto kind of pause here, it gives me a little bit of thought of like, oh, maybe the shorters on tech are right, but then I'm seeing just tech kind of just gradually inch higher, and then I'm on the other end. I'm like, well, is crypto just lagging equities, and we're just we're just kind of waiting for a bit of a pop on Bitcoin at least. So I do agree with you that the longs are probably sexier right now, and especially if unemployment this Friday is negative, then I think the longs will be even more in vogue. But just like on that back and forth, like I would love to understand what your perspective is other than just I'm longing because everyone's shorting. Because on one hand, I'm like, maybe crypto's lagging and we're going to see this pump in crypto. And then the other hand, I'm like, well, maybe equities are just waiting to dump and everything's just going to kind of mean revert. So that's kind of, I'm on the fence right now.
Yeah, no, I would agree, and I share the exact same sentiment. I don't think I have a huge edge in Bitcoin right now. I think most of the edge, at least where I've positioned, has been like shorting certain altcoins that I think are way overdone and don't have negative funding levels, so they're at less risk of a short squeeze. And we could talk about those. But yeah, I mean, look, we could break out to 30, 33K. We could go back down to 25. I think it's a coin flip right now. And if I were to place that bet 100 times, I'd probably be unprofitable. So I'm not going to take it.
What, you saying you're unlucky?
Yes. I put bets down knowing that 60% of the time I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But the payout ratios are going to be higher. You have
And
and if you're betting too much, you're going to blow out all your capital before you capture the good opportunities. And I've done it, man. I've made these mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to hear what where you think which altcoins are a little overblown right now, overbought and deserve some retracement.
Okay. Here, give me 5 seconds and I will.
This is where project founders start to run and hide. This is when CJ starts prepping the charts.
Yeah, you do not want your project to be on this list.
So before we talk about assets, let me lay down or break down kind of like the educational case. So this is what we look at in terms of like funding rates. I think everybody who watches this show or anybody who trades crypto should be very familiar with this link. It shows funding rates and positioning. Same thing we were talking about with the S&P 500, but with crypto. Seeing a lot of green, obviously that shows people are levered towards the short side and have a short bias. When we look at it more specifically in terms of altcoins, this was a good case study with CFX. So as you can see, funding was neutral. The first decline came. Then we had our, second pump. Everyone tried to short the second pump. When you look at flow from Binance and Bybit, you had funding rates go massively negative, which means that everybody's trying to short, which increases the vulnerability of a short squeeze, which is what we got. Then once all those shorts were squeezed out, funding returned to neutral levels. We fell. Shorts once again piled in. Funding went negative. Short squeeze once more, funding returned to neutral, and we've declined ever since. Yesterday, funding got a little bit positive, and we had kind of like a micro 5% short squeeze. Doesn't look like much on this chart, but ever since funding has returned to neutral in CFX. Nick, you had been early on this short as well, talking about it around 40 cents the first time it had gone down, so got to give you credit there. But overall, I mean, technically, I think this is weak, and you have defined risk at the top of the uptrend. Bitcoin could go to 33, or it could go to 26 or 25. If it goes to 26 or 25, the reward for the downside on something like CFX is way higher than the potential loss of getting stopped out, especially now that the funding has returned to rather neutral levels. And even in Arbitrum, you can see people are like it's neutral. So I do like the Arbitrum potential short, but obviously got to be careful.
I agree.
So in general,
the one risk with Arbitrum is just the lack of trading history and ease of squeeze, to put it lightly.
we do have that airdrop fractal a bit. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, ARB is just a complete FUD-driven play at this point.
Yeah, and I know that. I mean, to transition from CJ's short plays, I do still think there are plausibly some opportunities to the upside as well. I know CJ also shares that sentiment. We've been kind of discussing that with some of our customers in our crypto community. But one thing that this Doge news could plausibly be a catalyst for risk on price action in the alts. But one thing that I have been watching very closely is this is the Bitcoin dominance chart, a breakdown below 47%. If we get a breakdown below 47%, and it's going down quick now because of Doge, obviously, taking some of that market share away. That is still a significant amount of capital, even though it's just Doge. But if we break below that 47% level, I think that could mark some risk on price action, some rotation of capital into the alts. Bitcoin dominance, it does get overextended. We're seeing some clear resistance at 48%. So I think if we do get a breakdown below this level, that could be a trigger to, go ahead, take some risk. And maybe even we've already actually seen that trigger in the form of, this Dogecoin play. This could encourage that risk on behavior that often leads to the alts outperforming Bitcoin. One great example, and I'll leave this one to CJ to talk about if you'd like, but is Lido. I think that has a great risk reward perspective in a similar way that CFX has a nice risk reward to the downside. I think Lido is setting up in a similar way to the upside. But CJ, that's your trade. So I will defer to you if you'd like to talk about that as a possible play to the upside.
Well, before CJ gets into alts, let me give some context in terms of something we've been talking about for a while. And Monty, this is ETH Bitcoin. We've been talking about this for a minute. It's been hovering underneath here for days and pretty much half a month, two straight weeks underneath the meme line. And I will say this definitely is a 50-50 type of formation in terms of this, ascending or symmetrical triangle. But typically you will see this reverse up. This is kind of a Bart Simpson formation. And, if we get any life out of alts, like Monty said, this is the trigger that it's going to give you that play, is if we get above this meme line cleanly. And I mean, just look at ETH today. ETH is holding solid above the weekly VWAP, which to me is fascinating. And then, the one thing that we'd be looking for the weather vane, equities have not dropped below the weekly VWAP since they opened beneath it pretty much yesterday. So ever since we got into Monday, equities have been holding strong. We have kind of a daily doji, but if that hourly continues to play through into the end of the day, it's gonna consume that doji, and it's gonna be a solid daily candle. So if equities are still chugging, Bitcoin's still sitting above the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average, hovering around the VWAP, and ETH is chugging stronger above both of those right now, looking like it wants to reattack recent highs, with liquidity coming in because everybody's focused on Doge. Everybody just made 30%. Where's that money going to go? We might have just a quick 24, 48 hour rally here, and then CJ shorts come into play because unemployment isn't what we want on Friday. So, maybe there's a weekly narrative for you guys too. So I know I kind of went a bunch of different ways there, but when we're talking about alts, whether you want a long or whether you want a short, I think this ETH Bitcoin chart is still going to be what you want to focus on in terms of entering that play or lack thereof, maybe. But CJ would love your thoughts as well.
Let's talk also, CJ. Let's talk also after your thoughts. Everybody chime in about employment numbers and what we think we can expect the results from those to be. I want to see what everybody's bets are on that.
Yeah, because we have 3 more trading days basically until unemployment, because unemployment's Friday morning and today's pretty much done. So we have this evening, 3 full trading days until that big data point.
Yeah, I mean, me going into these events, I don't really think the outcome or the number is as important as the positioning going in terms of determining. I have no idea, to be honest with you, and I don't have any edge in predicting that particular event. But what I would do to just make the bullish contrarian case in terms of like employments as well as real estate in general is like if companies do eliminate a vast majority, like 30 to 50% of their workers, and yet can still remain productive and efficient, like that's a huge cost reduction that they could have, especially with AI that people, I know at Market Rebellion, a lot of folks are using ChatGPT to enhance their work productivity. Perhaps that's a microcosm for other places. And then the second highest cost for businesses is like real estate. And if their rents, or if landlords can't charge as much rents or so forth, like those are 2 massive costs, which are ultimately going to come down for corporations, or could have the potential to, create like better earnings reports that nobody really foresaw. So though, I mean, who knows if that's going to happen? I'm just kind of playing the devil's advocate to everybody's, bearish case. But that's what I would have to say in terms of like employment related data.
Yeah, and to continue along that vein of like playing devil's advocate or playing, contrarian, one thing that we haven't even mentioned at all today is oil, which has made a big move to the upside on the news that Saudi prince announced that they'll be, outputting less, voluntarily outputting less oil. That it in itself also has people concerned around inflation. So you have these concerns around continued growing inflation, possible increasing unemployment. But the one thing I'll say is that you cannot conflate the economy and the stock market. They are not the same thing. And one mistake that a lot of traders make is they'll see bad economic numbers come in and they'll get short. And then that trade becomes too crowded. So in that, vein of contrarian trading, if the numbers are overwhelmingly negative and if inflation continues to increase, the economy can look very bad for quite a while the market continues to rip. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. But to me, I think the Qs can keep going regardless of what that unemployment number is, regardless of what inflation is. The markets and the economy are 2 different things.
So
we should have learned that lesson after COVID. I mean, if there was ever a state that the economy was most vulnerable,
right?
Well,
Well,
I have a
we're seeing oil drive it right now. I mean, oil is in the driver's seat, and as long as that keeps going, it's going to dictate what the markets are. You know, that's why markets were down today, and that's what's going to keep the economy down in the short term.
So I've got a couple of talking points on this one. One is just quickly on the oil trade, and Alex, if you want to, or I think I can go ahead and share my screen right here. Is so fascinatingly enough, no matter what you hear about energy and increased energy prices being bad for consumers and bad for the market, I just want to show you this chart, because if anyone says that, they're lying to you, because oil and the S&P 500 pretty much directly correlated throughout, the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And we can just keep going back. There's definitely a little bit of difference, but recently oil going up means more production, means economy's growing. So anyone who's saying otherwise is a bit of a fibber, in my opinion. This is basically showing you that oil can go up, so can the stock market. 2, on the unemployment standpoint, McDonald's is pretty much the biggest company in terms of, consumer discretionary and benchmarking how consumers are going to interact. They just shut down their corporate offices for 3 days to lay off God knows how many people. So the last unemployment print actually surprised to the upside. I think we shocked 0.1% increase on unemployment rates. And all we've been hearing over the past couple of weeks and past month really is more layoffs, more layoffs, more layoffs. So in my opinion, I think that Friday is going to shock to the upside. I think the unemployment report is going to be horrible. And I think the Fed is going to like that. And so will the market, because it shows the Fed is maybe doing exactly what they need to do and don't need to press the foot on the pedal as hard. And then you'll see a decrease in the likelihood of a 25 basis point come after Friday. So I think if this week is not overtly bearish, we will get a good data print on Friday. That will likely lift us higher into, April. And in my general opinion, I've just been looking at the Fed balance sheet. My general thesis, and Alex, I've been, wanting to talk to this on the B3 radio show, and I will, is that everything is working its way, because of what the federal balance sheet looks like. You can look at the market and say, every time the balance sheet grows, market grows. Every time the balance sheet shrinks, market shrinks. Right now, the balance sheet is growing. I believe the market will continue to grow until it stops growing. And I think it will stop growing when the Fed caps the federal funds rate, because what Jerome Powell is going to do once he caps the federal funds rate is he's going to start decreasing the balance sheet to show that he's actually doing his job and setting the future rally and the future economy up for a good thing. So he's going to decrease the balance sheet while he's decreasing rates. That's going to drop prices back down, probably Q3, Q4. Then once he's done, the balance sheet will continue to grow, and then that's our next rally. So I personally am moderately bullish rest of Q2 heading into Q3. And I think the second half of this year will be pretty bad. And then I think heading into 2024, we're actually going to have a pretty darn good year, provided nukes don't start getting thrown around and Taiwan doesn't get evaded, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Does anybody? I don't understand. Rollbit doesn't have futures on my screen right now. Did they take them off?
It was the gambling license. Yeah, they're in review with Curacao, I believe. And during the review process, the licensor gave them some feedback in relation to their NFTs and their leverage trading, which I think they deactivated it while they're in the review process.
So basically, we can't gamble.
They want you to stick to Plinko.
I love Plinko. What's wrong with Plinko? Don't mess with Plinko. Come on.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that's what they want you to stick to.
CJ, have you tried your hand at Rollbit?
Man, I would not put $1 in that website. But I mean, if you just plan to lose it with like $100 or whatever, that's going to a casino. That's totally cool. I've lost so much money over the years in the markets that I can't bring myself to bet at a game which I know I have less than 50% payout. It's like I do enough gambling or perceived risk taking in the markets. I don't need to destroy myself.
You're not a poker pro? You got 51% chance on poker.
And if you know,
yeah,
CJ,
poker, I guess poker is the one exception. Yeah, I don't play a lot of poker anymore these days.
And if you know CJ, he's like myself in that we have like very addictive personalities, which is the last thing you need when you're on a website like this is to get
Is the
to get
ability to
absolutely
increase
torched.
your Plinko balls to 20 and your rows to
But
16?
that would be me after literally 3 minutes on this site. I'd be max betting. So yeah, no,
Come
I
on, give us
don't.
a Plinko roll, Alex. You can't tease us and not give us a Plinko roll.
All right. Well, let me see if I can set it up here. While you guys talk about something good.
Yeah. In the meantime, something that I did mention earlier, CJ, I tossed this question to you, because it was a trade that you pointed out. I thought you did a really nice job explaining. And we talk a lot about the opportunities to the short side, but I think there are some opportunities to the long side right now as well. We're seeing, like we pointed out, ETH start to outperform. What are your thoughts on Lido? And if you had a trade set up, or if you were flat Lido right now, what sort of trade setup would you be looking for?
Yeah, here, why don't I just share my screen and then we can talk about it more specifically. Lido, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Wow, it's moved a lot since.
I mean,
It's kind of got the same chart as Atom almost.
Okay, that's not good. Atom is cursed. That thing never, like, that is a cursed coin. I swear to
No,
God.
it's not the exact. I lied a little bit. It's not the exact same. I was
Do you guys
wrong.
feel, am I the only one who feels this way, that Atom is cursed? Like, anytime you buy
Atom
an
and Link are extremely cursed. The most cursed
Exactly.
assets.
Link is the worst curse.
Who's this? Is his name Sergey? I don't know. He just pushes the red button.
Didn't he
punish
get
the
in a
wall.
shirtless fight outside of a British McDonald's? I'm pretty sure one of the Link founders got in a literal fist fight with his shirt off outside of McDonald's.
Yes, I saw that video.
So that's probably why it's cursed. The McDonald's curse.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of Lido, pretty simple. Just a high beta played ETH, defined risk in terms of the stop. I wonder what funding looks like on Lido right now.
Yeah, that was another thing. CJ kind of had reset a little bit. We did have some pretty high funding a few days ago.
I will say the one thing on ETH is that if you've been shorting 1840 on ETH, you're Scrooge McDuck right now. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heavy shorts on that, which is both fascinating and scary at the same time.
I mean, you just can't get chopped up, I think, in this range. Like, every move feels like it's going to be a breakout or a breakdown, and usually it's been false. So I think that's very important. Just can't get chopped up in an environment like this. Got to be patient.
Yeah, we've been telling the TTC community the biggest thing is, until proven otherwise, don't long resistance and don't short support. Until you get a confirmed break on one or the other, just play the range. You'll be better off for it. You may miss, a break in one direction, but all the breaks have been swing failure patterns so far. So,
have you guys seen how high ETH fees have been for the last, I guess, 12, 24 hours?
No, I have not. What are we? Oh, we're sitting in mid 40s. Wow.
That's fine.
$15 Uniswap transaction. Let's take Uniswap is taking up 10% of gas. What's Seaport? I always forget what Seaport is. Isn't that OpenSea's thing?
Yep.
Yeah, it's OpenSea deployer. So it's Uniswap and Tether are taking up 25% of the network, and the rest is NFTs right now, and L2 stuff.
That's all right. We just moved to Arbitrum. It's all good.
Future finance, baby.
What sucks is you hear those numbers and you'd expect that that Uniswap would actually be doing something, or the token price would actually be doing something. This is something that CJ harps on a lot, is just because people are using the exchange. Does Uniswap even really need a token? I would argue no, it doesn't. So even when they see massive trading volume on their exchange, their token price doesn't go up because there's no incentive for it to. So it's yeah, great. You're seeing a lot of volume, but what does that do for me as a token holder? Nothing.
Yeah, is the Uni token is it just used for governance right now, or does Uniswap not have governance like Sushi?
I'm still waiting on the protocol revenue share.
Yeah, a lot of
That's
air
never happening.
quotes in those questions, Alex. I
Yeah,
can't
there
really
are.
give you a direct answer there.
Oh my gosh! All right, let me
How do you
try,
guys? Speaking of exchanges, though, did you guys see the 1-inch DAO proposal to buy the Lambo for 750K? Or I think
Yeah, that's
900K?
inappropriate. They're going to look at 1-inch and they're not going to be thinking about the exchange. I'll tell you that. They'll be thinking about something else.
All right, is everybody ready?
Could you think of a worse name for your exchange than 1-inch?
I know.
Like, good God.
Does anyone know the context of what that actually means?
Did you win something? Or is that a half? Oh yeah, I forgot the multiplier.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, come on. Damn.
Oh.
This is it. This is it.
Hey.
That's a winner. Oh, this one's screwy.
All right, I'm feeling lucky. Let me go to 2 balls or what I got. What can I do?
I love how quickly you can slide to 20 balls. Does the 1x mean you get your money back? I think.
I don't know. Oh, I'm down to 5 up.
There. Oh, I thought you were gonna have a good one there.
Well, see, here's the wallet balance. All right. You got a whopping $5.85 in here.
All right.
I think all the sad Pepes in the chat on the right tell you everything you need to know about
So each bet is $1.
All right. I'm gonna go 3 balls now. Let's go 3 balls. Let's see if we can get this popping.
We need a 4-7x.
If I go another row over, does it? Oh
yeah,
no,
it multiplies it.
Come on.
Hey, not bad.
All right.
No, it's
all right.
not. How is that not a winner?
Well, I gained a little. We're what? Oh, that's extreme degen. We're not there yet. All right. I'll add rows. There we go. We're going to 10 rows now.
Phoenix Zohar in the comments said playing Plinko is just like buying an altcoin.
You bet your butt. Now I can get 6.5x on the corners, 6.5x on the corners. Let's go, baby. It's not looking good.
Plinko's running a racket right now.
Rollbit must be raking. Oh my gosh, I lost like $1 there. Rollbit must be like raking in the money. Let's raise it to 5 balls.
You're a good customer.
Oh, I'm a great customer. I'm a freaking DJ.
They don't want to lose you.
All right, let's pump this to 12. 12 rows. Let's go.
Come on.
Oh, I'm down to $1.97.
Oh no.
All right, this is it. This is it. Big money, big money.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Go.
Uh-oh.
Oh! Nice.
Damn. Hey, a 3x though.
I don't want to be that guy, but I think gambling is against YouTube's terms of service.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's
You gotta decrease your amount.
I'm not trying to be the YouTube police or anything like that. I'm just saying.
I think you're right. I think I gotta stop this. Oops, I just hit the ball by accident.
Oh, you definitely got to stop this, but
it's okay. I got 13 cents left in the account now. CJ's right. You're just gonna lose. But I had fun losing there for a minute. So it gave me some satisfaction. Let's go back over to the leverage Doge short. See how that puppy's doing.
We are hovering around 0.95. I would say this is where it rises. It's building market structure.
And for everybody watching us today, we're going to come back more adult-like and educational on Thursday, if that's what you tuned in and were looking for. So,
Oh, most definitely.
Tough not to have fun when Elon literally changes the one mode of communication that we're all on to the Doge logo. It's what a time to be alive.
I'm surprised that he did that. And CJ Monty, do you think there's any repercussions from that in the court of popular opinion?
Yeah. I mean, if I was shorting Doge, I'd be pissed. But regardless of that, I mean, it does feel almost like he's like poking the dragon that's already awakening, being the regulators. And it's
Sure.
like he just manipulated the price of an altcoin by like 20% by literally changing a logo. I'm not saying that's market manipulation. I'm not an attorney. I'm not, but like with everything that's going on in crypto, all of the regulation from both the SEC and the CFTC that we've seen in the last week, this feels a little bit like bad timing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Could just be me.
Elon is certainly not someone who is also, on the hand of regulation or intervention. He's quite outspoken against the regulators too, which would probably add to
So
any
maybe
oversight or lawsuits or regulatory authority coming to him. So he's got a target on his back already, and he doesn't seem to be scared. I guess my one thing is, it would be tough to argue against him if he didn't have any positions in Doge. Like if he was balls long Doge before this, there's probably a case. But if he was just a spot holder from years ago and did this, then I would say there's maybe less of a case. But again, I'm also not a lawyer. I'm not a regulator, so I'm not sure. But I would be remiss if someone is not looking into this situation at the very least. That would at least be my assumption.
CJ, you got a little request in the chat from Mr. Richard.
Alex Doge is hitting 10 cents again with
I'm not happy.
volume.
I lost at Plenko. I'm about to get blown out of my short position. Don't forget, my liquidation price is 0.1016.
Like Phoenix said, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I guess Phoenix did ask what happened. If you are listening and did not catch the beginning of the show, Elon has changed the web Twitter logo to the Doge logo. So if you're not seeing it now, you need to X out of your Twitter, clear your cache, and then load Twitter again. But it is showing for all web users right now.
What's interesting is I just refreshed my Twitter, and as the screen goes to refresh, it's the big Doge coin face right in the middle of the screen.
No, it is. Oh my God, it is. That's I guess, and then talking about will Doge continue to pump?
I'm 2/10 from liquidation. Hang on.
You're about to get liquidated for sure.
Boom.
There you go.
Yeah. Done. Let me see if I can close the position.
The continued case for Doge, and I'm just gonna do a little victory lap here. I did call long to 10 cents from 9, short to 9, long from 9. You would have killed all 3 trades.
Look at this thing pump. Look at this thing pump right now. Monty, you have this on the
Yep, I got it. I shared it. So the long-term case, if Doge was continue to pump or see any upside, the one indication would be that Elon is going to integrate Doge for payments. That would probably be the only continued upside from here if that were to come to fruition. I can't think of anything else other than the speculation around the logo placement, but the thought would be that Doge would be integrated for payments. That's really the only value or utility it would have in the Twitter ecosystem.
Yeah, and just looking at this 1 minute chart, even though obviously this is completely fundamentally driven news, there are still technical factors at play in the sense that, this is becoming a crowded trade. Thus, people are setting stops. Look at how perfectly this hit 10.5 this wick. People, set their stops. They get hit. And like you said earlier, Nick, the psychological levels are critical. And that's why I think that if we can manage to maintain here, for the next couple of hours, like through lunch, if we can flip this 10-cent level to some support on the 1 minute chart, I think this thing can keep running.
We fully
And-
breached February highs, and the December high is 111111. And then the October of 2022 high is 16 cents. I think the October high is a little far-fetched, but if there was a Doge Twitter payments integration, no doubt in my mind 16 cents is an absolute magnet.
Yeah.
Absent that, I think, you'd probably start to top out at 11 or 12 cents.
I mean, this even just technically, this just looks like a force right now. And, I know I pointed it out earlier, but typically when we get above this level, this 20-period smooth moving average on the weekly chart, you get this like massive volatility. So trade with caution.
ETH is at 1840.
Yeah.
ETH
Wow.
is at resistance.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, trade with caution. Alex can tell you that. This market's moving fast, and keep it tight.
ETH BTC meme line is hit while we were on the call. That took 20 minutes. Oh, do you want to share that, Monty?
I got it. You want the 1 hour?
It is at the March 28th high.
BTC is.
That's going to break up. I'm just going to say it. That's going to break up. That breaks up 9 times out of 10 in crypto. And you can look at the micro market structure too. It's lower low, higher low, higher low, higher high, and now it's going to set a higher high.
Yep. And I think that just provides more merit for CJ's trade of Lido being kind of a higher beta vehicle for exposure to ETH. I really do think that this one can run here. You can see I have some targets highlighted where we previously reached. With that ETH BTC chart looking the way it does, I think that this is, for me right now, probably one of the, with the exception of Dogecoin, maybe one of the more favorable looking assets. And one thing I actually am just curious about. Not surprised there. I mean,
LDO plays into the ETH unlock situation too, right? Because unlocks are in a couple weeks, and a lot of people are locked up on LDO, which furthers the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what they do with those tokens. That's yet to be seen. But this is Shiba Inu. This one's really pumping. Not surprising.
If you look at Mask is another one that's pumping off this news, being in the Bluebird Index.
Yeah.
So just figured I'd mention that.
What was that one? The BSC coin high. I remember some guys were trading that. I wonder if that pumped. No, not really.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like ETH here. I know I've been talking about how it's been lagging behind Bitcoin. Nick and I were talking about that a little bit on Thursday, but
we've been talking about it for weeks.
Yeah,
we've been waiting for that
weeks,
break,
right?
man.
Like, look at this, like boom, 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 rejection. Finally some risk on what looks like some really nice positive risk on price action that will drive us above this critical level of 1840 and, perhaps let us run up to this 2K range. I think that would put us, right where we need to be in terms of, price relative to Bitcoin. So that's what I'm looking for. And if you're looking for higher beta, I think CJ's Lido trade is a great option as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Weird days in the markets right now. OPEC comes in, slashes 1.1 million barrels a day. Markets drop 2%, and they're back up above the highs from last Friday. Well, I guess at or equal highs if you're looking at crypto.
Fundamentals don't matter. It's all positioning.
As he does the Kermit the Frog sip. That's perfect right there, CJ.
It's all about the Doge. All right, folks. We've been on here for almost an hour now. So we're going to let everybody go. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies for the craziness during this broadcast. When you're going through crypto winter and all of a sudden you see like a God candle, you kind of get excited. Everybody thinks the world's coming back. But anyway, don't forget, listen to the Smart Minds, the Smart Money, CJ, going off on commodities, Monty trying to show you that rotation in altcoins and when you can play that. And of course, Nick coming out with the non-farm payroll numbers and what that may do for the economy. So till next time, thank you very much. Appreciate everybody. CJ, Monty, thank you very much. Bye, guys.